Hello and welcome to Miniature Painting with the Jolly Good Giant. I'd like to start by saying that today's video is partially sponsored by Plaid Craft Company. They have kindly donated the paints, brushes, and sealers used in this video. Today we're going to be painting a Reaper Miniatures Fire Dragon as a yellow dragon. I have an example here of a silver dragon that I painted up as a yellow dragon a couple of days ago. I'd never painted yellow dragon before. Yellow is a difficult color to paint with. A lot of people find it's a difficult color to paint with. On this dragon I did a base coat of a coffee bean brown, and then I went over it with a few shades of yellow, and then I highlighted with a little bit of orange at the end and a couple other colors. I think I used 5 or 6 colors on the dragon itself and 4 on the base. But it came out pretty good for my first yellow dragon. So again, that's a Reaper Miniatures Silver Dragon. This is a Reaper Miniatures Fire Dragon. I used tangerine, cream coat tangerine from Delta Paints, which is an offshoot of Plaid, as the base coat. I'm going to go over it with Daffodil Yellow, dry brush it on quickly. Then after that I'm going to go over it with Bumblebee Yellow, also from Folk Art, and kind of blend them together to see how it looks. Then we'll do some other highlight colors after that. So I'm going to move my camera down so you can see what I'm doing as I do it. Like I said, I'm going to start with multi-surface Daffodil Yellow. Use my Plaid Mod Podge detail brushes, come in a 10-pack. Get all the brushes I need in there. I'm going to start with those. Small flat brush. You can see it there. Sorry if the lighting's a little wonky. I'm still trying to figure that out for this new setup style. So get a little bit of paint on my brush. I'm going to take and wipe a little bit of that off on some cardboard that I have next to me here, so it's not overpowering. So I have a little bit of paint on my brush. What I'm going to do is do quick, fast strokes back and forth. You may not see the paint going on quite yet, but hopefully you can see the technique that I'm using for fast, quick strokes. It's just a light amount of paint going on there. And again, I hope the lighting isn't too bad that you can't see that. This isn't my usual setup, unfortunately. So just keep going, light strokes. So when I applied the base coat of the orange, actually what I did was use, like I said, I used Delta Cream Coat Tangerine, but I mixed a couple of drops of the Ultra Mod Podge into the paint, and that actually helps the paint go on smoother and creates a more durable coat. I find it helps the paint adhere better to the model. And while I'm painting, I'm going to go over some of the basics for model prep before you start painting. You're going to get your model in, it's going to come in a gray or a white plastic, and it's going to possibly have flash lines on it or mold lines. So you want to go over that lightly with a sharp hobby knife or a small file to get those off. If you're under 14 years old, you want to have an adult help you with that. After you remove the mold lines carefully, then you will want to wash it with dish soap, warm water, and possibly an old toothbrush. And that'll get in there, scrub it in there, get all the mold releasing agents off of the model so that the paint will adhere better. Some models you can glue together before you paint them. Some it makes it much more difficult. This particular model, I think the wings are spread far enough apart. Everything else is separated enough that you could actually glue it together before you start painting it. I actually painted the wings and the body separately with the base coat before I glued it together. But with the Silver Dragon, if you get one of these, you're definitely going to want to paint the wings and the body separate and then glue it together. And you may see the little griffin I have off of the side here. That was just to show you the what the plastic would look like when you get it. It'd be like this sort of a light gray or a white. So I'll put him off to the side so he's not in the way. And I will continue to paint along here. Again, I'm doing light, fast strokes. Keep in mind when you're painting your model, if you, actually I'm going to start by saying that it's important to paint the whole model with a base coat first. So I did the whole thing in orange, except for the base. Down here where the feet are, well, don't paint under here because you need to glue that to something, or just leave it plain. Because if you paint this and try to glue it to something, it's going to pop off because the glue you're using is going to stick to the paint and not to the actual model. But when you're painting the feet, around the feet here, if you get a little brown on the claws or you get a little orange, you know, people are going to notice that, and if they do, they're just being rude. Say, oh, you get a little brown on your dragon's feet. Well, for all they know, your dragon's walking through mud that day, you know? So you meant to do that. Who are they to say? I'm definitely liking the way this is looking using an orange base coat over the yellow base coat, over the brown base coat for the silver dragon. I do light fast strokes because I want the orange to show through the cracks and crevices. I don't want to overpower it. That's what we call wet brush painting, when you just put it on heavy and thick. And this is just a different style of painting. It takes longer to dry, I find. Dry brush goes pretty quick, so you can, once you get through one color, you can move up right on to the next color that you're trying to blend into it. I was actually supposed to be teaching this painting, both of these dragons at MomoCon this year, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Maybe I can do them next year in person. If you find that you have any questions about something that I'm talking about in this video, you can reach out to me at JollyGoodGiant@gmail.com. and I will be happy to explain or clarify anything in this video that does not make sense to you, or that you think I'm doing wrong and you would like to have a discussion about. We can do that as well. Now, I don't know if you can tell, I went a little heavy on the arm here, so what I'm going to do is dip my brush in some water, rinse off the paint that's on my brush, dip it again so it's mostly water, then I'm going to wipe some of that water off on my cardboard, and then I'm going to go over that spot where I put the paint to try to thin it out. I'm going to dab it with a little cloth that I have next to me, and well, I didn't get all the paint off. I did thin it out a little bit so you can still see more of the orange through, because I'm going to go over that with a lighter shade of yellow in a few minutes anyway, so it won't be as overpowering. You can also reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, JollyGoodGiant. Painting happy dragons. That whirring in the background is kind of annoying right now because people know I'm making a video. Sorry about that. I'm going to go a little bit lighter on the wings because I plan on going over that with yellow flash color shift paint to give it a more glossy sort of appearance, like this, like the skin there is thinner. So I'm just going to lightly go over that with yellow because I don't want to overpower it. I don't know if you can actually see what I'm doing there because I'm using yellow and my lights are kind of bright. See some of the what I've been doing here. So I'm going to keep going around with this a few more times, and then we'll go to the next lighter shade of yellow. Sorry if the background noise again is getting frustrating. Apparently cats want to scratch too, and I'm getting frustrated about that too. I wasn't going to do the armor yellow because I was going to go over that with an orange color shift, but I'm still going to do it because the orange color shift will work as a like a liner, and it will change the whole color of the armor compared to the color of the dragon. I'm trying real hard to show you this on the videos I do this. If anybody out there has a better camera for me to use for shooting videos and you want to send me one, I'm not going to say no. I'm shooting this on my iPhone right now. A recommendation for a better camera to use, I could certainly use one of those. One kind of heavy, but oh well. It'll be all right. If you ever see me at MomoCon or MultiverseCon or any other convention, I was supposed to do Boston Children's Comic Festival this year, and I was also supposed to do Dark Phoenix Gaming Con this year, but all of those events except for Multiverse were canceled, I believe. If you ever see me at any of those conventions, feel free to walk up to me. I'm very approachable. I'll talk about miniature painting. I will say I don't know a whole lot about tabletop gameplay, but I'm more of a miniature painter kind of guy, and I'm certainly not the best one out there, but I have fun, and that's what matters. If it's not enjoyable, it's not fun as a hobby, then why are you doing it? Another thing too, these suggestions, the color choices I'm using, these are just suggestions. It's your model, it's your experiment. You color, you paint, you do however you like. And something I don't like about some model kits out there, they tell you what specific colors you have to paint it to make it look right for certain gameplay or things like that, and it's just no fun. If you look around online, you'll see a picture of mine not a picture, you'll see a picture of a dragon that I painted. Maldrakar from Reaper Miniatures. It was a large 5-headed dragon. Most people paint that as the classic Dungeons and Dragons Tiamat, but I painted mine in Voltron. It's Voltron color scheme, and it's actually one of my favorite miniatures that I've ever painted. And I may honestly do another one just for myself, because that one was as a giveaway as a prize. I may do another one just to keep. That is definitely not a beginner's model, though. That one took me almost 30 hours to paint. That's not counting the base coat. So I went around the dragon. I didn't go super heavy with the yellow. Whoop. But I'm probably going to go around a little bit more in a few spots. And then I'm going to go over it again with the bumblebee after this, and then I will do a couple of color shift paints, highlight some of the claws and spikes with fire opal. Probably throw some blue on there. I think I'm going to use blue peacock like I did on the silver dragon for the eyes, and then wrap this up. Just going to pause this for a moment and try to catch up a little bit so I'm not boring everyone.